Welcome back, family, to the Back Issue Book Club, episode number 8.
Woohoo!
I'm Greg. I almost said I'm Rich. I almost said I'm Rich. That's Greg.
I'm Rich. He's wealthy. Get a strike, girls.
Episode 8, Moon Knight, Silent Night, our final Christmas-themed book for the year.
Yep. With Lobo's paramilitary Christmas being last week. If you haven't watched or listened to that on the podcast, get to it, guys.
Yeah, it's a hoot and a holler. This one is more of a straightforward, almost melancholy, dark affair.
And I'm going to have to read other Moon Knight books. Again, this was my first Moon Knight book. So if anybody is a Moon Knight fan and has read this as well as other, well, if you're a Moon Knight fan, you've read other books. But if you read the Silent Nights, Knight, let us know in the comments how this compares to how other Moon Knights are written, how the characters are portrayed.
As far as I know, like I was saying, I've read the current run quite a bit. It's not this dark. So
what year was this?
This is from 2008.
Not that long ago. Okay.
No. But yeah, I mean, it starts off, the first couple panels, these guys go to a Santa in a mall or a store, and they just literally assassinate him in front of kids.
Well, one of them does, and the other one's like, dude, I thought we were just going to rough him up.
Right. And they were like, we would have shot him anyway. And then all of a sudden, yeah, the one is like, so what are your holiday plans? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's Christmas.
And I was like, oh my God, these guys are so detached.
A couple of things that I thought were interesting. One, on the first page, not the title page, which is like the 5th page in, which shows Moon Knight coming, swooping in from below, above, that's great artwork.
Love that page.
I love that with the full moon behind it.
Yeah.
By the way, does Moon Knight only fight during a full moon? Because you never see a crescent moon or a half moon behind him. It's always a full moon. What does he do the other 27 days? But on the very first page, they have the written intro with a little bit of a back history, and they refer to Moon Knight as his warrior priest.
I got it up here. Let's see. Mark Spector was a soldier, a mercenary, a killer, and then he was a hero. A warrior priest for his lord, Khonshu. Now,
I never thought of him in any way, shape, or form as a priest, just a avatar. And an avatar is not a priest.
The fist of Khonshu, you know?
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I think a priest is more of the
spreader of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could look at it as he spreads Khonshu's word via his fists. Yeah,
he's Khonshu's vengeance, though. He's not, a priest would go out and say, this is what Khonshu believes. Not, this is what Khonshu believes.
Well, Khonshu's kind of a dick.
Yeah, and that was Khonshu in that?
Yes. Yeah, that was Khonshu manifested as a rotting, dead zombie elf situation.
So he can manifest himself in other shapes other than what we saw in the Moon Knight series.
Yeah, but I don't care for them. I like the one in the series very well.
The one in the series was excellent, and I saw somebody cosplay that, and it was just, oh my God, good.
It's awesome.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he was like looking he was able to look through the chest of the costume, and he just had the head floating above him.
Yeah.
But, oh man, I think he had it hooked up with cables, so every time he would lift his head or down or let the head up top would also move around.
That's super cool.
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
That's awesome. But, yeah, I mean, it was like very... I felt very like film noir style because you have like the narration from the woman Marlene that kicks in right after that first scene that we were talking about, and how she keeps saying like, you got to be careful this time of year with all this cheer, and it's like it's like an airborne disease. We talked about Khonshu, and he is just like chirping the whole time.
It's like he's trying to
alone.
He's trying to fire him up and goad him. I think he realizes that this is the time of the year when he has a real chance of losing Spector.
Yeah, I think that's a big theme of the book overall. Is eventually, he gets one of the two guys, and he's like, the other guy's running away. You're letting him get away, and then as he's chasing him, he's casually having conversation with him as he's like throwing moon rings and stuff.
Yeah.
And he stops and he looks in a window and he sees like a couple having a nice like Christmas evening dinner and
hi, honey. Hi, dear.
yeah, pretty much. And he's like, man,
I want that.
I want that. And Khonshu was like, you can't because you're messed up in the head, you're messed up physically and mentally, and I need you.
I own you.
Or I own you, yeah.
Yep. And then later on, Khonshu didn't have anything to do with this, but it really played into Khonshu's hands.
Yes.
That the one that got away, while he was looking through the window, killed those one of the two people that he was watching and admiring. See, and Khonshu used that to his advantage, saying, "You see, those people that you were admiring, the snow wouldn't be crimson right now if you had just gone after them."
Right. Stop the guy before he had a chance to murder one of them, because he wanted to carjack him. The guy was like, "No, you're not taking my keys," and he killed him. Took his car.
Swear words that.
Yeah. Right. Exclamation, pound sign, percentage sign, dollar sign, whatever the combo is they do. But
also known as that.
You're right. So then that guy was like, he came, he hit Moon Knight, and was like, you come for me, you best come strong, blah, 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 blah. And then he sees Moon Knight in his rear view. That was really cool. And then he goes all, I hate to use this description, but like, Batman on him and breaks through and turns the car. And so.
And then the guy's begging on the ground, come on, man, it's Christmas.
I was like, oh, yeah, what'd he say? Now comes the part that really hurts, he says. And he goes, yo, man, come on, it's Christmas. And he says, sure it is. As he, like, reaches towards the camera, a.k.a. his face or whatever.
Yeah. Now, the question is, did he kill him? He didn't kill the other guy.
I don't think we ever see.
Yeah. But now this book, the reason I asked you before, 2008, I'm trying to remember what the state of affairs politically in the media and everything back in 2008 was, that even Khonshu says, oh, I see you let the black guy go and grab the white guy. What is this, some kind of reverse racism? I'm like, really? They're going there? Are they trying to? Oh yeah, are they trying to overcorrect for something that was going on in the world at that time? I don't know.
Yeah, that seemed a little shoehorned.
Yeah, but then, even though the white guy was going to be wearing a lifetime supply of colostomy bags and sucking his dinner through a straw, they acknowledged that he lived. Then the question is, did he kill the black guy?
And that point reminds me, when you brought up the EMTs that came to save the other guy, I relate so well to that EMT who was like, how do these guys live with themselves? And the guy's like, what do you mean? How do they live with themselves after they like do this to another human or whatever? And I was just like, I know. I wonder that too.
And what I'm thinking is, you realize that this guy is doing it to other humans.
Yeah.
So this ends the cycle.
Yeah.
Well, you can arrest him, put him in Rikers Island, because I think this is supposed to be in New York. And 6 months later, he's out on the street and doing it again.
Rikers.
Yeah.
In the clink.
I hated Rikers. I knew people there.
Yeah. I didn't. I don't even know the people in the county facilities here.
Oh. Well, anybody that's familiar with New York, I grew up in Ravenswood and hung out in Queensbridge. So to anybody that's a New Yorker, that's like, whoa.
QBE. It's the projects.
QBE?
I don't know. QB Bridge? What do you call it?
Queensbridge.
Isn't there like an acronym for it?
Everybody just called it the bridge.
The bridge, yeah.
I mean, it's New York's equivalent of like Compton and LA. So,
yeah.
I mean, the bridge was, well, you got East New York. It's in Brooklyn. You got Hell's Kitchen, which is not quite as bad as Daredevil's book made it out to be, but you still don't want to hang out there. You got the bridge. Harlem was horrible in the 80s. It's really a nice neighborhood now. It gets a lot of bad press. But yeah, East New York and the bridge are the two places I wouldn't want to go into if I don't know people. So, yeah, I mean, overall, though, his relationship with Marlene, I think she's just as messed up in the head as he is.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an element of that. I don't know. I don't know if she's like as much as him. He's pretty messed up with like the personalities and all that. But yeah, I mean, she even says at one point, and why shouldn't I have this? It's not like I'm attracted. It's not like I get off on all the drama and action and stuff, or
Well, maybe
drama and disappointment or whatever.
Yeah, or maybe a part of me does.
Yeah, maybe I do, but still, So
yeah, and then and she burns the turkey.
Yep. And she walks away, and then she's like, "No, fuck that. I want it."
that 3 panels of the turkey sitting there on the floor, one with her legs going one way, then the dang thing sitting by itself, and then the legs coming back. I'm looking and I'm like, is there something supposed to be going on with this turkey? And it almost looked like there were spiders underneath it, and they changed from one panel to the next. And I'm over-analyzing it.
Yeah, you are.
yeah. I spent like 10 minutes staring at this thing like, are they trying to say something about the turkey? What is turkey?
I see what you're saying about the spiders.
Yeah, the second one looks like it gets smaller in the second panel. I'm like, why didn't they just use the same picture if they want it to be the same?
It's the art was pretty okay for most of this, but I did not like this part because it's just being artistic and putting random black spots in places, including on her face on the last one, which is weird.
Yeah, I guess when she dropped it, some of the ash jumped up on her face.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But to me, it looked like Disney spiders holding the pan up, like, don't worry, we'll fix it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wow.
And the spiders changed from the first panel to the second. Dude, I'm telling you, I stared at this for a while.
Wow, you're right. I thought you were talking about like on the turkey.
No, I mean the ones holding the pan up from falling on the floor.
I see it. It's like up at an angle.
Yeah, you got a bigger spider further out, but I don't think it's a spider.
No, I'm going to say it's some sort of accoutrement. It looks like there's like some deviled eggs on the plate or...
Ooh, I
don't know.
It's just my grandmother made the best.
Ooh. Yeah, I think it's just excess food and like weird artistic license here.
Yep. Hey, was it just me, or did the couple that Moon Knight was looking at through the window look like him and Marlene?
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, is he having like a vision right now?
Yeah, cause I mean, did they mean it to look like it? And that's why it caught his eye, or did the person who drew that really only know how to draw one face? This is what every woman looks like, and this is what every guy looks like.
Well, it's not very detailed, so it could be.
I wasn't crazy about the art of the book at all. I mean, it had a couple of good panels, but
yeah.
But other than that, you could tell that it's a holiday special, and we're not getting any really great artists volunteering for the project, so we'll assign it to somebody.
I think the shots of like the alley and where it was snowing and outside were probably the best for this style. But I did not like any interior, supposedly clean moments in the environment. I did not think it translated to this style at all.
And the inability of him to have a normal relationship and feeling like crap about it, again, just kind of screamed out to me Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Did you... I had to read that panel a couple times where he shows up to Marlene's place with flowers.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, it shows like Khonshu emerging out of his back or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Khonshu. I thought that was a lobster claw coming out of his head.
It absolutely looks like a lobster claw with teeth.
Well, a lobster claw is actually jagged.
Yeah.
So I thought it was actually just a lobster. I'm like, what the? This is okay, whatever.
Yeah. Well, after I read it a couple times, I was like, whatever. I'll go to the next page. And I was like, oh, it was like a dream she was imagining or whatever.
You realize I spent 5 times more time. Yeah, that's correct. 5 times more time analyzing those stupid little freaking spiders than I did trying to figure out that.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. You should have called me. We could have discussed it on.
We're discussing it on the podcast.
A book club kind of thing. Oh, that's right. So
I
clearly,
wonder if
she dreams
I'm
of,
sorry. I'm wondering if right now somebody is driving down the road, listening to our podcast, going, "These guys are nuts."
and I
I
love it.
know.
Uh, when she's doing that, daydreaming or whatever, she's also dreaming of this like perfect moment where he's bringing her roses and thinking about like I've been thinking about how I love you and all that. So that's interesting as well. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, and did she go from like do a complete 180 on him when she's like, "Hi, honey, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you're late." She didn't see the blood until after. I kind of ruined dinner, but you want to just skip this and go straight to bed? And then then the
Well,
next day, after next, and that was a well drawn panel. Um, but then you see him start to say something, and she's like, "Forget it. All right, that was your Christmas. Now get out." Almost.
yeah. So I'm looking at it, and she's never actually like nice to him or like particularly warm to him in the reality version.
Okay.
Because she just goes, "Mark, are you all right?" When she opens the door, and she goes, "You're so pale," and then he says, "Something smells so good," and she was like, "Hope so. That bird's been stewing in its juices too long."
Yeah, kind of pointing out you're really late.
Yeah, and then she goes,
And
"Wine," and he says, "Sure," and
but doesn't she take his hand and just miss the blood?
well, she's about to pour the wine, and she says, "You're bleeding," and he says, "Am I?" And he's like, "Oh, I just slipped on some ice," and she was like, "Ice." I guess everyone
Yeah,
I guess everyone slips now and then.
yeah,
And then it shows like a really like backed out picture of the table to like convey like awkwardness, I guess.
yeah.
And then the next panel is where she goes, "Do you want to just skip this whole dinner thing and go straight to bed?" So I think she was like realizing at that moment.
You're not here for the dinner. The only reason you're here is to get laid. Just get it over with already.
I don't know if it's that. I mean, maybe, but I think that was her realizing, like, I do this every year. This shit isn't going to work out.
I'm not gonna get the life I want.
And he's the same way, probably, is what she's thinking.
Yeah.
So she's like, whatever, let's just get it out of our system for another year.
Yeah, and in the background you hear Emperor Palpatine, Khonshu, laughing.
And then the children outside the window, "Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep
Which they can't have
in
babies.
heavenly peace." And then, yes, like you said, as he's putting his pants on, he goes, "Marlene," and she just says, "Forget it, Mark. Consider it your present." And then it goes back to the refrain from the beginning of the book: "You've got to be careful this time of year. All this goodwill and magic floating around. You got to remember who you are." Boom. Finn.
I mean, it was an interesting delve into the characters at a specific time of year. I don't know if during that time frame in 2008, if this is a story that needed to be told, or they were just using the excuse to get a Christmas book out. But overall, I wasn't overly ecstatic about it.
Yeah, wasn't my favorite, for sure.
I mean, it still beats Wolverine. It's so sad, but I mean, the series that I wanted to start this whole
Shebang.
back issue book club out with has become our example of
No.
futility.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is that the oldest book we've read?
That changes next week.
I was going to say, next week is going to be a great barometer for that. Because we're going to go real old relative to that. So
Yeah, careful with what you're saying right now.
relative. So what is that? 82, 72. So 14 years prior to Wolverine. This one comes out.
Yeah, 14 years earlier. No, you said what? This was 2002. Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I'm
82,
talking about Wolverine and Iron Man.
Wolverine is 14 years difference.
So we'll see how that turns out.
Yes, the book we're reading next week came out the same time I did, and I don't mean that I came out. I mean I came out. Smack! Yo, bitch, who you hitting?
How many moonarangs out of snowflakes would you give this?
Moonarangs out of snowflakes?
How many moonarangs would you give this?
5.5.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if that's a wow that high or wow that low.
Wow, that high.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say...
I mean, it's right up the middle. I don't regret reading it, but would I read it again? No. Would I recommend it? No, but I didn't hate it. And I guess 5 is the exact middle point where below 5, it's a dislike. And it was just slightly on the like side. Because I thought it did have character analysis. You know, a little bit of Marlene and Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to give it a little bit of credit for that. And
right.
any book that starts off with a head wound, you know, just an assassination of Santa, dude, you're getting a half a point just for that.
In front of kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
It doesn't count if it's not in front of kids. I mean, in a back alley, who cares?
All right, you've convinced.
Macy's. If it's in Macy's, you get 2 full points extra.
You've convinced me. I was going to go straight up 5, but not with the assassination of Santa, but with the character development. Yeah, I'll give it a 5.5 as well. So.
Well, I mean, I know you never watched the TV show Lucifer, but for any of our listeners or anybody that did, the black guy that got away, he just reminded me so much of Mr. Set Out Bitch. So, and I'll explain that one to you later.
Okay. We have uploaded our Revenge of the Remember Me picks video to our Patreon, and it is there. I want to say 3 days prior to being on YouTube. We're going to release it on December 26th on YouTube, but that's an edited version because the one on Patreon has each of us gives 3 picks. The one on YouTube, each of us gives 2 picks.
Right. We're trying to Remember Me is a segment where we're trying to remind you of books that you wanted to get, and everybody said, no, this is the wrong time to buy it. That now the books have calmed down, have dropped quite a bit in price. They still have the potential to go back up in the future, and you might want to take advantage of these low points. If you're a follower of Reggie Collects, he actually refers to it as Red Ocean and Blue Ocean. You don't buy a book in the Red Ocean when the blood is in the water. You wait for it to calm down and be a Blue Ocean.
Interesting.
Yep.
There were some good picks in there.
I had to say that because I'm wearing Reggie Collects sweatshirt at the moment. So
nice.
He's a good guy. He really is. And besides, it's cold down here in the basement, and I wanted a sweatshirt.
So next week, we've got our first post-Christmas book, Iron Man Submariner #1.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that.
Released in April of 1968.
Yep. And like we said, it'll be a great barometer to compare it to Wolverine to see how things were and are. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to the podcast, check out our Patreon if you want episodes early, exclusive content in general that will never make it to the YouTube, and behind the scenes stuff that I put up there. Fails that we have on videos. Like I put the recording of us forgetting She-Hulk on the MCU list.
Oh
wait, before we continue.
Yeah.
Are we missing She-Hulk on here?
Yes, we are.
Shut.
So I cut that video and just put it up there, and Tiago and them were laughing about it. So you'll find some funny. Believe it or not, we do make mistakes. I mean.
And believe it or not, I thought he deleted them all. I just found out right this second with you guys that they're going up on Patreon. Yay!
Only the fun ones.
I was actually hoping. I'm like, dang, you know what? I wish he wouldn't delete that all the time. Yeah, I got my wish.
There you go.
Yay.
There you go. And then I do some like editing stuff and narration and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Join us over there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. In case you don't get a chance to watch the videos or anything from Team Ohana, though, happy holidays, the safest and the most joyous to your families. And looking forward to a bright, wonderful 2023.
Oh, yeah. Until we see you all next time, mahalo.